Welcome everybody. My name's Kim, and this webinar is on behalf of the Facebook group Channeling Development and Spiritual Growth. Each month we have a webinar, and we are very fortunate this month to have Susie and Michael, who are going to be talking to us about self-publishing for beginners. So let me just introduce both of them. So Michael teaches a freestyle approach to self-awareness, spirituality, and finding inner joy. Based in the United States, he's been published in Kindred Spirit magazine and loves bringing meditation into daily life. He's the author of the Joyful Heart Gratitude Journal. Yeah. He's taught public speaking and reading to kids, and has been known to juggle and break dance at the same time. And if we're lucky, we may see that a bit later on.
Yes, that's tomorrow's class.
And Susie Jones published her first channel book in 2022 and has since launched and published the Pocketbook series, which is a multi-author series of inexpensive self-help books for personal and spiritual development. Based in the UK, Susie is a wisdom keeper, spiritual guide and healer, hypnotherapist and artist. Wonderful to have you here, and I'm really looking forward to this webinar. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome. So my name is Michael, and my partner is Susie. My teaching partner is Susie. And I just want to welcome all of you here, and I'm excited to be here. And we want to make this as tailor-made as we can. If you've got a question, raise your hand, or you can go to down at the bottom of your screen. There should be reactions. You can kind of virtually raise your hand. Susie and I have a plan, and we have an outline, but it's free-flowing and bendable. So by all means, let's make this a conversation about publishing. So feel welcome to interrupt us, or if there's something that's really daunting, now's the time for us to really work on this together. And just briefly about me, as I published my first book almost exactly 2 years ago, and it's a relatively thin, small book. It's a gratitude journal with depth and heart. And there's more books to come, but I wanted to publish something that was relatively small to learn the ropes. This was my learn how to do it book. And that's something you might want to do. If you've got the big book that you've been working on for 40 years and there's all this pressure, maybe you could start with something small. And Susie has a pocketbook series that she's going to mention. So just to take the pressure off to learn how to do it. So that's a little bit about me, and I've probably sold about 500 copies so far, and I think I've made a little bit of money, but the win is that I have learned so much how to do this, and the door is open for other books, and I've learned a lot, and it's opened doors for me. So that's a little, and then Kim invited us to teach this, so that's a little of my publishing journey and how I got here, and my quick intro. So Susie, would you like to share a little intro of yourself?
Absolutely. Michael and I met on the Hay House introductory course, which was really very, very interesting. And then within a couple of weeks, this young man had published a book. So we were all in awe of him. I joined because Goddess Isis, I'm not a worshipper of Isis. I'm not an Egyptologist at all. So don't ask me a question, because I only know her more recently. But she started to say in 2021, we're going to write a book. So in 2022, we started, and here's the book with a companion journal. And I haven't promoted it greatly for lots of reasons, but almost to answer your question, Claire, really is that even though I haven't had time and effort and ability to promote my book, it sells. And people all across the world are buying it or reading it on Kindle. And so, you know, there's some advantages to broadening, like we're an international community. We're a tribe of people that are spiritual and are wanting to bring light into this world. And we're crossing nations here tonight. So just an example of who we are. I'm an educator by nature and profession. And I wanted to support people who'd never written a book to write a book, because Michael and I have got a couple of videos on YouTube, which we'll give you the link to, which is a repeat of this, but for video purposes rather than a conversation. So this is my series of books, Pocketbook Library. It's a collaborative series. I'm very bossy by nature, can't help it, quite proud of it. And so all of my authors have to keep the books the same size, and they have to follow some rules, very simple rules, but it just means that the pocketbook series are pocketbook sizes. They're easy for people to write. And with the support of the community, we provide these at a very inexpensive rate. I don't know what the exchange rate is for Australia, but in UK pound, they're £6.50. So they're probably about 10 of your Australian dollars or something like that, I think. So quite inexpensive. I'm so many things. This is not what this is about. This is about you learning. So are there any more questions or anything that's bugging you, but you know, encouraging you or disabling you, that we can make sure we fit into this hour and a half to 2 hours? Has anybody published a book already here? Rosalind, you have, yeah?
Oh,
Did you
wonderful.
do it? Did you
Yes.
do it yourself? Or yeah,
Yep, I've published 3.
really?
Wow.
Fantastic. Wow.
And who did you use KDP or did you use a publisher?
I used White Light Publishing. They're based in Perth.
Yeah.
They're a holistic publisher.
Did
Hey,
you
Robert.
have to submit? Did you have to query them to get through?
Well, basically, they were originally based in Melbourne, and I
Oh.
was going to Melbourne on holidays. So I actually met the daughter and mother team at the time, face to face. And I gauge people by their energy. I loved their enthusiasm. I loved their energy. Astrologically, one was a Taurus, one was a Capricorn. So they were very compatible, and they were compatible with me energetically. And that's why I went with them. I had looked into other ways of doing it and other publishing companies, and they didn't quite. And with it being my first book at the time, it wasn't for me just about getting the book out there. I also wanted to be nurtured as a new beginner, like I was a new author. And that was very important to me as well. And a lot of the big places, especially based in America, and I'm not being biased, but that's just happened to be, you know, these were all the emails that were coming to me at the time. They just didn't have that one-on-one thing that you could get with a smaller publishing house. And yes, it wasn't self-publishing, but you know, I know that there are pros and cons against self-publishing versus going through a publisher. So it's about what you want to do, what time you have available, how much money you have available, and all these things. So for me at the time, going into with a publisher suited me because I had a very busy practice, and I didn't have a lot of time, because I have found that once you become an author and your book is out there, that is where the work really, really starts, because the marketing and the getting it out to various people, it takes a lot of time. And I'm not against that, But if you don't have a lot of time to invest in that, then sometimes having somebody take the ropes for you, it can be a positive thing. But in saying that,
Thank you.
I'm
Yeah.
about to retire in about a year or couple of years, and I plan to write some fiction books for the first time. And I would actually like to self-publish those.
Ah, good. Okay, well, welcome, welcome.
Look,
We're focusing on self-publishing here
I
today.
understand. So this is why I'm going to, I'm really interested in this.
Wonderful.
brilliant. Thank you. And Rosalind, did you publish your books yourself?
Yep. So I've been writing a big book like you're talking about for years, and I've done a similar thing to you, Michael, and Susie. So I published a children's picture book, self-published in New Zealand. Yeah, and same thing as you were just saying, Michael, that I learned so much, and so I know when my big book comes out that it will be such an easier process. But yeah, I'm being invited to run a workshop like you in person in Christchurch, and so I'm really fascinated to learn from you guys and learn your journeys.
And there's always more to learn. I mean, when Kim invited me,
Yeah.
I was like, I could teach a beginner's workshop, but I'm not sure I could teach an intermediate or advanced. You know, there's a lot to learn, and we're all in this together. So, you know, feel welcome to chime in
Brilliant.
if something else that feels important to share, either questions or suggestions. So thank you. All right. I had the thought, since I think we're all spiritual here, we're all part of Kim's channeling group, I just want to lead us in a very short 30-second intention setting mini meditation. So just close your eyes for a second, and people who are listening to the recording, time is eternal, so just be with us. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. Just getting in touch with yourself. And now getting in touch with the message that's in your heart. What is feel as if your book is there in your heart. It's already there. Feel the energy of your book. If anyone ever read the Seth books, which were the first channeled books that I read, those books were already written. I could tell they were like invisible books. It was the energy of the books. So take a moment to get in touch with that energy. Be the book. Yes, in this physical world, we need to write the book. But step 1 is to be the book, be the heart of the book. Come back to that energy, essence of the book. And then from there, you take action to create the book, to publish the book, to share the book. And that's what makes the journey fun and interesting. So when you're ready, let's open our eyes, and may the journey of publishing be joyful and growthful and healing and everything you want it to be. And it starts now, and there's no race. It's just, we are where we are. All right. Susie, did you have anything you wanted to add at the moment?
No, you carry on with our plan.
Okay.
now.
So like I said, Susie and I have an outline, but we might veer from it. And the top of our outline is organizing the manuscript. I just had a few reminders that I wanted to share about that. I used to lead a writing group, and I would come in with something, you know, I would write something, and I would, the energy is this, and the guides or whatever, and people would be like, what is he talking about? And then, but as soon as I brought it into a personal story or an example, everyone went, oh, now I understand. So I just want to remind you, in organizing your book, to or your chapter or whatever it is, to bring in the personal element, share something, oh, I was taking a hike one day, and a mini story can really, even at the beginning of a chapter, can draw people in. People remember stories. But at the same time, you don't want to get carried away. It's not unless it's a memoir, so the balance between the personal and the teaching and the hands-on, or whatever your message is. So that, I wanted to remind you of that. And think of it like to organize the book, it's like you're writing for one person. You can literally think of one friend or one ideal person, and you're just holding their hand. They have a beginner's mind, and it's like, what's the first thing they need to know? What's the second thing? You pretend that they don't know anything really, and you're just walking them through it. And then the final thing, or I don't know if this is the final thing, but the importance of the introduction. I really want to stress that. You want to make your introduction sing. And the introduction is the promise of the book. What are readers going to get? What does it deliver? What are the benefits? Most people, if they're browsing in a bookstore, they'll look at the cover, then they'll look at the back cover, and then they'll flip to the intro. Some exceptions, but they're rare. So you really want to, that's the promise of the book, and it's why are you the best person to write it, or the best people if it's a collaborative effort. And it is a chance to sell it. And also on Amazon, that is more often than not, when people see a preview of the book, they're going to see the introduction in the first 10 pages or so. So you just really want to get that introduction singing. And then, of course, there's a logical order towards for the chapters, like what's the first thing they need to know and what's the second thing. So that's the main reminders I wanted to give on that. Susie, did you have anything more to add about organizing at the moment?
I think just that when I wrote my first book, I was absolutely chaotic. I just literally wrote it as I was channeling it. And then it took me as long to organize it into some semblance of order than it did to write it. So be organized.
Did you rearrange
Definitely.
the chapters, Susie? Did you have to go,
there were no chapters. It was just
Ah.
whatever Isis was giving me went in it. And then I literally had papers all over the house trying to create some synchronicity and some flow with it. So do be organized, and you know your own personality, so do it your way. So the second book that Isis and I have started and haven't finished now is already in chapters. So when she's talking and I'm writing, I determine which chapter it is we're writing in. So at least I know the basic order of the book. So find your own way. There's nobody's can tell you what to do. Really.
That's great. That's great. Just to add to that, I find it really helpful to just come up with random chapter titles. If you're just starting, okay, The Art of Love, chapter 5, or How to Channel, chapter 7, it's all changeable. But once you've got even some rough chapter titles, then you can begin to get a little bit of an outline and see the order. And I can tell you, in my writing group, there were so many times where we would be looking at a book, and then someone would say, I think chapter 2 should really be chapter 1. And then everyone would go, yeah, you're right. So sometimes that little switch, what you thought was chapter 1 may really be chapter 3 or something like that. Be willing to, don't be attached to the order. Once you get some chapters and intro, be willing to move things around, and that can increase the flow enormously. So,
And
And
if
then
I can
there's
just
the-
say,
yeah.
it's like doing a Rubik cube. It's hard work
Yeah.
until you know your own formula. So
Yeah.
be really organized in your own mind in order to make it easier.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there is the question
Sorry.
of, do you want to hire a developmental editor or get beta readers? Sometimes people find a group of they're actually professional beta readers. You can find them on Fiverr, or there are some Facebook groups. You want to screen people, but they will read your book ahead of time and give you at least some light feedback. I personally prefer critique partners, where both people are writers, and then you really do a trade with someone and you go through it. I find it invaluable. But there may come a time where you want to hire a professional editor. And what we're really talking about is, how do you know when you're done? How do you know when you're ready to publish this book? And it's kind of this age-old question that comes up over and over and over. Oh, I've been working on this for 35 years, or I've been working on it for 35 days. How do you know when you're done? And I once heard a really good answer to that question. This was not me. It was at a writing conference. And the guy who ran the writing conference, he said something that really stayed with me. He said, when 3 or 4 people who you really trust, you really value their opinions, when 3 or 4 people are just noticing little things, then you're probably about done. You're probably about ready to hit publish. Because otherwise you can work on it forever and ever and ever. At a certain point, you just got to go, wow, I've put my heart into this. Susie is just noticing little things. Claire is just noticing little things. My cousin Bill, at a certain point, you go, I'm ready. I'm ready. So find that point. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Any questions, comments? Remember, raise your hand, or you can use the.
Anya,
Yeah.
Anya's speaking.
Oh,
Um,
go ahead.
so do you think that, like, I did the Hay House boot camp thing as well, and I know that they talked a lot about the different types of editing and all that kind of thing. Do you think that there's a different level of editing for publishing it as an ebook to self-publishing to professional, traditional publishing? Do you think that there's a different level that's expected, or does it matter?
It's a good question. I think it's really a business decision whether you want to do an ebook or do a self-publish, or if you want to query. I mean, there really are pros and cons to both. 25 years ago, self-publishing had much more of a stigma. It's really changed. I look at it like a business decision. It's a big question. It's a great question. It's a big question, but it's a great
Yeah.
question. So
There's
Susie,
also there's also a financial consideration. And
Yeah.
the advantage of KDP is that it doesn't cost you a penny.
that's in case
Yeah.
people don't know listening, that's Amazon's self-publishing
Yeah,
division.
which is what we're doing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is completely free, and any money that you make is your money. So really you can choose how you do it. With ebooks or with Kindle. People buy them and you can set your price for that. But also people who subscribe, I don't know if it works out about a cent for a page or something like that, or 0.0001% per page, but you do get paid for out of the collective pot for your ebooks on Kindle.
Oh yes,
So-
how many page reads? How many
page read?
yes.
And a lot of people do read mine. The rewards are very little, but I don't care. Providing people are reading it, it's good enough for me. The rest is
Yeah.
unimportant. And in terms of, there are books out there that have been supremely edited with mistakes in them. I've got a whole load of, and I bet every one of these books in this cupboard have got a mistake in it somewhere. So don't get your knickers in a twist about it, really. Just
Okay.
do what you, let your heart do it. And, you know, people
Yeah.
can judge you if they want. So what?
Yeah.
Providing it's
Does
not.
that answer your question, Arinya?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I know they did the really hard sell on the editing side of things
On the
boot
Hay House
camp,
group,
on the
yeah.
Hay House group.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a business. I mean, the woman who
Right.
runs it, Kelly Notaris, she's great. She has a
Mm.
wealth of information, but ultimately they were selling their program to be a published author.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's
Right.
pros
And they're
cons.
only,
Yeah.
and they're only really publishing tarot cards at the moment. So
Yeah.
bear that in mind. Yeah.
It took
Good
me
to
a
know.
long time. I pursued traditional publishing for a very long time, and I came close. And then finally, I've just embraced self-publishing. It was a tough call, but I'm excited about it now. You have more control, and you have
Yeah.
complete control, and the time frame is much faster. With traditional publishing, it's at least a year. With self-publishing, it's a few days. You know, so there's pros and cons to both. I think if you can publish with a company like Hay House, they can distribute it better. I think they have a wider distribution. It's easier to get into big bookstores, easier to get into libraries. So there, of course, there are advantages, but it's not easy. It's not easy to it's like winning the lottery to get a traditional
I mean, one of the books I'm writing is about how to clear different types of entities and how to recognize them. It's not the sort of thing I'd expect to find in Whitcoulls anyway. You know, like
yeah.
it's not
You never
really.
know. Yeah.
It's not really a mainstream bookshop type of book.
Yeah, then self-publish it. Go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay.
It'll be fun. There was one question that came up, Kim, in your joint publication book about deciding which language to use, because we've got 3 different English versions going on here. New Zealand English, British English, and American English, and there's probably more than that. So I think that's really important as well. And you make those choices about where your market is, really. And certainly if you're going to be promoting it in New Zealand, then I'd suggest you use your language, your expression and your spellings of English. And I think we're all big enough and grown up enough now to understand that the Americans have got a very different version of English to us. But we know that, and that's fine. So yeah. Does that help, Kim, with your question that was on in your group?
No, I understand what you mean, and that's exactly right, because when I did my first, one of my self-published books, I decided to do it in American English, assuming that was a larger market. Where I'm currently doing one at the moment, and we've decided we're mainly aiming for this market in New Zealand, so we've used British English. So you're right, it's like, you know, where do you see your potential market? Yeah, and I
Absolutely.
was surprised. I mean, I have been published by an American publisher, and I was actually surprised at the difference, that it's quite a bigger difference than I originally thought. It's not just spelling, it's various terms as well. So it's a lot bigger than you think. And then if you get an editor, then, you know, what editor do you get? One who is mainly American or Brit. So there's a lot to consider. Yeah.
Yeah. And if it's a spiritual book, then your editor needs to have a spiritual bias, I would say, because otherwise they'll not pick up the nuance.
Well, that's right. And it took me a while to find an editor for the previous book, because not only is it a spiritual book, it is also a channels book, and not everybody understands that. So yeah, you do need to root around a bit and find the right kind of editor. Yeah.
Absolutely. Brilliant.
Um,
Michael, are we on to, oh, sorry.
Just before you move on from that, if you were going to root around for that kind of editor, what terminology would you use in like a Fiverr request to attract the right type? Like, how would you word that?
Well, I did find one on Fiverr,
Yeah.
and you narrow down the type of editor that you want, and what kind of books that they edit. And spiritual, 90% seems to be religious. So you have to troll through them all and find the non-religious ones.
Right.
And then I think I just contacted a couple of them and I said, we've written a channel book, can you do that? So
Right.
because you narrow it down to a very few number of those who are actually spiritual rather than
Right.
religious.
So there's not a way of putting that in the request of saying, if you're not
probably
into the
could.
woo-woo, go away.
If
Well,
it's
they're in the
really
character.
important to you, you know, I mean, in my experience, the editor doesn't have to have exactly the same beliefs as you, but they've
No.
got to be open to it. You don't want them going, who is this? You know, they've got to, maybe they've explored meditation, or self-help is another good genre, or yoga, or, you know, chances are they're at least open to it. So I think you're wise. You want to screen people pretty well, and definitely do a sample edit. People think of editors as an all or nothing thing, but I don't see it that way. Like, a lot of editors will do a free sample edit, or maybe you hire someone for just the first 3 chapters and give it a test run and see. You know, ideally you want the whole thing edited, but if it is pricey, and if they're a good editor and if they edit the first 3 chapters or so, that can help you with the whole book. So, you know, there's been a couple times where I had someone and then I was like, no, it's not quite a fit, and I tested them out and then I found someone else. So it's, you know, you're the customer. Find a good fit. Yeah. And Fiverr is,
Michael,
go ahead.
Michael, are we on to formatting now?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll take over for a little while, and then we are going to get into more technical things. Promise you'll be able to see what we're talking about, and we're about to see very shortly. I discovered, because we were learners at the time, you are learning from people who've made a lot of mistakes. And I think that has its benefits, of course, because we know how easy it is to make a mistake. And you end up down rabbit holes, and we're hoping that this video and opportunity to see how we do it will stop you going down the rabbit holes we went down. With you do not need to format your, I've lost my word. Sorry, your manuscript.
The interior.
Yes, the interior. You don't need to, you do not need to space it or anything like that at all. Just keep it so that
while you're writing it, while you're writing it, you mean?
While you're writing. And then when you can choose to go to Kindle Create. I'm going to share my screen. Unfortunately, I was hoping to show you how to get to Kindle Create, but I'll tell you, all you have to do is write Kindle Create in your search engine. It will take you to Amazon, and it will have a lovely little banner that says Kindle Create. Then you just read through that banner, and it will tell you to download for your Mac or for your Android. This is all on PC or laptop. I'm not sure that whether you can do it. I
just put a link in the chat. This might be it.
Thank you. Okay. So once you have downloaded can you see that all right? Because I've got a lot of things going on up here.
I can see it.
Let me move things out of the way. Okay. So once you've downloaded Kindle Create,
So
you
just
will
to be
get
clear,
this-
Susie, this is one option for
it
formatting
is an
your book.
option.
Yes.
And certainly, I think even if you don't choose to use this, do practice what I'm going to show you.
Oh, good idea.
will-
Good idea.
Okay, it will give you the opportunity to download Pride and Prejudice. It's not the whole book, it's only a bit of it. And this is where you can practice. So these are some of my books here. And Pride and Prejudice is the one that they give you. So download it, and then it will, on the list, it will show you where you can, again, download Pride and Prejudice. So it says open an existing file. So you literally press on it and you press choose. Are you able to see what I'm showing you? Yeah.
I can see Pride and Prejudice and Kindle Create on the left, but I'm not seeing the
choose?
open view of Pride and Prejudice.
No, because it says choose on it. Can you see choose?
I'm not seeing it at the moment, but maybe it's there.
Yes, it's on the bottom right hand corner.
Oh, yes. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. My screen was covered. Yes.
Okay, so you can see Pride and Prejudice now, yes? On my screen.
Yeah.
Uh,
No,
What can
No.
you see? Tell me what you can see.
nothing's changed.
Wait, I see the Kindle Create logo on the left, and then the
Oh,
choices of your
different.
books, Pride and Prejudice and Isis Wisdom, but we're not seeing the open file.
Oh, that's going to be very
Try
awkward
this,
then,
Susie.
isn't it?
Try stop sharing, open the file, and then share again. See if that works.
There. Try this. How does that look?
There we go.
Hey.
Pride and Prejudice.
Hey, well done. Okay, you do need to be able to see it, and I've pushed you all the way down, so I cannot see you at the moment because there's no room on my screen. So this is what you will get in front of you. And I suggest you really just play with everything, which is what I did. And you can choose the theme. So you've got modern. Notice things like where the chapter title is, and also this large A here. Or you can go classic, Cosmos, different fonts here. Look, can you see that? And Armour. So choose one that fits your style. Okay. So here we've got Pride and Prejudice, and along this line here, you can slide through the whole book, including the chapters. And what this does do for you is provide you with the chapters. So if you choose to use Kindle Create, you would bring, instead of Pride and Prejudice into here, you would bring your manuscript. Then you can you see front matter?
And oh, Susie, didn't you? That just reminded me. You want to bring in your fully finished, proofread manuscript, right? Didn't you tell me you brought it in and then you started making some changes?
Yeah,
and that
I did. Yeah, I'll get to that definitely in a
okay,
minute. Okay, so the front matter has got all of this choice: title page, copyright, dedication, and standard page front matter means that you can add as many pages to this as you want. But we start off with the title page, which is what you're looking at. You can edit this if you want on the right. Are you seeing my cursor? Yeah, I can't see you. You're going to have to shout. So,
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay. Then your next page is copyright, and all you really need to do is cut and paste this onto your document if you aren't going to use Kindle Create. So I copyrighted it to Spirit New Zealand because I was playing with it before we came on. This is all about the characters and events portrayed in the book. What you need to do is go and look at a similar book to see what the copyright copyright script is,
Very cool.
and then
That.
copy that.
No, it's that
Are you all right?
bullies of the whole fucking Middle East.
We're hearing a little
Marika.
background noise. If there's some background noise where you are, could you please mute?
Yeah. So no part of this book may be reproduced. You can keep that exactly as it is. The ISBN numbers is something that Michael is going to talk about at length. And there'll be two. One is for the book, the physical printed book, and one is for the electronic book, or I've just written Kindle there. You then alter the cover design. I know, Deborah, you're doing a cover design for the collective book. I don't know what this Library of Congress control number is because I'm not American. And then printed, I've just put worldwide. So you just amend that and you can edit the page here on the right. Then you have a dedication. And this is to whoever you want it to be. I think Isis, I can't remember exactly what she said on her dedication. No, where is it? It seems to be lost, but I think it was to everybody in the world, really. I think that's how she put it, rather than an individual. Dedicated by Goddess Isis to all on the journey of transformation. So you don't have to put people's names, but obviously if you want to, that's the place to do it. And again, you just go to edit page and you'd end up with this like this. So to Michael in this occasion, thank you, and update page. Then there's an epigraph. This is where you can put a quote of somebody that it relates to your book. So I chose the John Lennon quote, "Life is what happens while you are busy making other plans." So you can choose one or ignore that. If you don't like it, you don't have to use the page. So you just open the page and say, I don't want to do that, and just close it down. Update page. This on Kindle Create is automatic. So it puts all your page numbers in and it sets the whole book out ready to upload, which is the bit that Mike was going to show you in depth. So this is the greatest advantage, I think, to Kindle Create, that it does all that work for you.
How does it know, Susie? Is it, let's say you have a Microsoft Word document, then there's regular text and then there's a title text. Is that what it knows to make chapter 1?
Yes. You do a different, I think, if my memory serves me right, but it doesn't matter because you'll put it all in, and then as we go down, you'll see how this is the Pride and Prejudice, but your document would be here, and then you would be doing the amendments from there.
Right.
So that's.
But what I'm asking
this
is it seems like it's helpful to do a tiny bit of formatting before you upload it. Is that correct?
No, you don't need to do anything, seriously.
Oh, okay.
So the foreword is a very good, important part of it. Introduction again, and I know you've done that, Kim, haven't you already? For the collective book, and that's really important. And that's what Michael said was the thing that people will read. So it's a really important element of it. Preface. This is your introduction stating subject, scopes, aims. What is your book about? Why are you writing it, really? And what I'm going to get from it if I read it, which is why I'm interested. If you need a separate introductory section, then you can add the prologue or not bother. And then I added, because I know that with the collective book, there is a page called How to Use This Book. And for my book, it's a glossary. So you can add as many pages by going to this cross here and adding a standard page. So we'll add a standard page, and then you just cross it out and put a new page or whatever you want to call it. Are there any questions? Or are you okay so far with this?
Are you
I've-
able to save that when you when you save that, are you saving it as a separate document for yourself, or is it stored here in this whatever?
Oh, I see what you mean. You've already got your copy, your master copy, and then you're making a copy of that master copy and putting it in here.
Okay.
But make sure your master copy is edited, meaning that there aren't any, you're not going to make any changes to it. And what Michael alluded to earlier was the fact that I made a lot of changes here, not knowing it doesn't spell check, it doesn't grammar check, and it doesn't punctuate. And sometimes when I was typing, it was putting it somewhere completely different.
Okay.
So you've really got to be careful. Don't play with this apart from the titles. So that's the front matter. So if you go to any
Wait,
book
it
on
looks
your
like you can export it and save it.
Okay.
Oh yes, you have to save it once you've done
Yeah.
what the work, in
Yeah.
order that you can then put that into KDP, which is what Michael will teach you shortly. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, well, let's keep walking then. So let me just move
Yeah,
myself
this is
out the way
separate. This
here.
is software that you actually download to your computer, right, Susie?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
this is the back. So then you've got the body of the page of the book. Okay. And so what we're going to do now is move here. So this is where you have written the first chapter's title on your master copy, and it's here, and it's probably not looking like that. So let me show you how to do this. Can you see on the right elements of the page?
Yeah.
So you can use chapter title or chapter subtitle. Can you see how it's moving? Yeah. So you can choose what it is. So you might have chapter 1, and then I've certainly got a lot of different chapters, subtitles within each chapter, if you like. And then here, I like this because I didn't know how to do this outside of Kindle Create, is this large I here, which is a dropped capital. And so you go from elements to formatting. And here, can you see if we go all the way down to below paragraph, it says apply drop cap. So you click on that, and it because I was attached to the C, it's dropped that capital. Does that make sense? Can just somebody say that makes sense or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
And when
with
you have
this,
a pause, Deborah asks a question on something else when there's a good moment.
okay. So see, if you want the I on this word here to be a drop cap, you press it, and that looks very professional. Can you see that it's also started to put all the lines down here straight, and it's called being justified. If you justify your work before you bring it in, it will shift all your words around. So that's why you don't format your document
Oh,
first.
interesting. Okay.
But if you learn from this, then you know how to format your document if you choose not to use Kindle Create. So you carry on and you keep doing this along with all of your chapters, and you just keep going through, and we're going to put Mr. Bennett as a drop capital as well. There we go. And can you see that it separates things and it creates a really nice looking document? I always like to add another space underneath the chapter, but that's just my visuals.
What if hypothetically you didn't want a space between paragraphs? could you change that here, or would that be in the original?
Okay. So can you see if we go down here from the right hand side, it says text properties.
Uh-huh.
The cascade formatting changes means it will do whatever you do on one page to the whole of the book. So that's why chapter 2 is exactly the same as chapter 1 in font and style. Then you've got body text, so which is what we're on now. If I put my cursor on there, it will say chapter title. So it tells me what I know. You can change the font, although that has some limitations, and it doesn't let you do it on this particular one, but it will on yours. You can decide on your paragraph. This is justified, the blue one. And then you've got indent, so you can see how little it has on the left-hand side and right-hand side. If you want to increase that, can you see how it will do that?
Yes, good.
Yeah, okay. We just go back with that. It doesn't really matter.
This
And
is
then
why it's good to
spacing.
practice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's play with Pride and Prejudice before you put your own in. And then spacing you can alter here, Michael, look.
I
Yeah.
see. And that
So I
changes
would-
it throughout the whole document or just here?
It should, as far as I know, it will, but I think you have to highlight it.
Okay.
Yeah,
This
you'd
is
have to
great.
highlight if you want to make
Okay.
those changes. But that wouldn't be the way a professional book would look, being so close like that. This is very much an editor's way of doing it. And if you don't like it, do what you like. But I think it is a more professional way. Deborah, you asked a question before I move on to the back matter.
She was asking about copyright statements. Are copyright statements universal? I don't know for sure. I mean, I've looked at a bunch of interiors of books, and they're often worded very similarly. And even some
Yeah.
of the ones about healing or whatever, they have a disclaimer, like, this is not medical advice. So the big publishing companies have lawyers that do all these things. For me personally, this is not legal advice, but I've just emulated what I've seen in
Yeah.
other books. So I don't know for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Copy other people's work. It's
Yeah.
not plagiarism. It's
It's
following the
emulating.
leader,
Yes.
emulating. Yeah.
And and
Okay.
as a quick aside, same with formatting. I went to the library and just got a big stack of books, and I was like, which one visually looks good to me? Ooh, maybe there's
Yeah.
maybe okay, the way Susie has it with chapter 2 right there, but a lot of chapters start halfway down the page, or just go to flip through books and go, what looks good? Yeah.
And you, with this one, you can't bring in image. Oh, you might be able to actually insert. Yes, you can. I actually inserted images into mine. So you can insert an image and you can put it wherever you like. So let's see what happens. I've no idea what these images will be, so bear with me. I probably put it on my desktop. I don't know that I've got any photographic. No idea what these are. Might be dangerous to do that.
This is a risky game to play.
Okay, but you can bring images in here, photographs. Okay, so I think it's fairly straightforward. Play with it. Just enjoy it. It's fun. I don't know if you get the whole of this. Okay, I think maybe you can read the whole book here. I didn't realize you could. Then you get down to back matter. And this is, I've already put things in. So these are all the options that you've got. You do not have to use them. You use what you want. So if we go to the epilogue, and this is like your comment or conclusion of the book. So thank you for reading this book. We hope that, or whatever you want them to have achieved, whatever your intention for them was really. Afterwards, this is where you can talk about how I checked these things out and copied from Wikipedia or something. This is where you can talk about how it came to be written. So, you know, why did you write this book? So you can talk a little bit about why you wrote it. Keep it succinct, keep it personal, sell yourself and sell the book with it. If you've got acknowledgements of people who supported your process or who helped you grow into the person you are that has enabled you to write the book, then that's where you would acknowledge people. And then it says about the author, and I made a note here, Kim, for you, that because it's a multi-author, you probably need a collective name of some sort. I'll leave that with you. And I just wrote one of the things that you'd written before, a guidance for life on Earth. And then you can add more pages to do whatever you like with. And once you've got all of that done, it's a big job. Do give yourself time. Do not change any of your own typing apart from the formatting of it. And then you can have a look and say, do I want, this is print settings, top right. Do I want my author name at the top of every page and the book title at the top of every page?
Those are the headers and footers?
Yeah. Do I want my numbers in the middle of the page, at the side of the page? So you've got all of these options. And what I suggest is you play with them. And then you choose one. I think I chose this one, which was no author name or book title, because I personally find that irritating, but that's just me. The theme of the book is, we've been through that already. Sorry, I'm repeating myself. And then what you would do is you would save. So you press save. And because it's saving it to the place where I got this through. If it was your new document, it would ask you to save like you normally save on your computer. And if you title it a Kindle Create version, so that you know, and if you want to put version 1, so that when you've done other things to the book, you'll be able to know which of the versions is your final version. You can also preview and have a look and see what it would look like on a tablet or a phone, a Kindle. I think that's it. Yeah.
Oh, is this just the ebook, or is this also for the print book?
Well, this is the e-reader. This is, yes. This is
No,
if
but
you're
the
going to
way
read it
you're
out.
formatting it could also be for the print book, correct?
Oh, it is for the print book.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's a preview option.
Oh, I see. Okay.
This is for, because people will read your book on Kindle and the phone
Right.
if
Okay.
you choose it, and most people do. I didn't choose it for a journal because there were too many blank pages, but certainly people do read my books online. So that's the preview option. We'll just get rid of that. And then export your project to Kindle, print, and e-publisher. So can you see here?
Yes.
KPF recommended for Kindle and print. EPUB would just be for, I think, just for electronic publication. Yep. So, and then you would export. Of course, it's not going to do, oh, it is. So here I would put KC version 1, export to a place I know where it's going. And I would probably have a folder for that to go into. Okay, then I can upload it directly to Kindle Direct Publishing, which is what Michael is going to show you now. So I'm going to stop sharing. Do you want to just mute yourselves and ask any questions before Michael teaches you what to do with that now.
And I'm going to add something to the chat, some resources. What Susie just showed you is, it sounds like it's a free way to format your book, and it's a great way to practice. And how long did it take you to format, Susie?
Well, bearing in mind that I was editing, which I'd
Yes.
never do again, I don't think it would take, I would say leave a day of your, a writing day to
Okay.
format it. If you don't format your document first and you make sure it's clean and ready to go.
Yeah, yeah. So I think Kindle Create is a perfectly good option, but I think it's somewhat limited if you really wanted to make it fancy, I believe. So I've just put in a few of the most common formatting software that people use. Vellum, I've heard good things about that if you have a Mac, and Atticus. And I think InDesign is like the cream of the top of the cream, or whatever that expression is. I think that's what the large publishing companies use. And oh, maybe I don't have it. Oh, I put the wrong link. Affinity Publisher 2 is the one that I'm currently using. I put Atticus link in, but you can find it. Just look for Affinity Publisher 2. And that is, as far as I know, it's kind of the next less expensive version of InDesign. And you know, formatting is important. I've learned it's really important. I'm not a designer, but you want to make it look, and this is all, we haven't even gotten to the cover yet. This is all about the interior. It's ultimately two different files, one for the interior and one for the cover. So do check out Affinity. And anyway, keep those. Okay. So now I think we're on to beginning to publish. Everything's ready. You've written your book. It's been formatted and you're happy with it. And 3 or 4 people are just noticing little things and you're ready to go. So I am going to show you my account of Kindle, of Amazon KDP. And it's not the only game in town, but if you look at a pie chart, I think 70% of the books are sold on Amazon. So you do the math. That's where you want to be. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is the behind the scenes of my KDP account, and it's just backing up a moment. If you haven't opened an account, it's pretty easy. I think you probably do need a regular Amazon account, and then just make sure you're on the correct site. You type in something like, you know, open KDP account, and then it asks for your bank account, and you know, you have to link a few things up. Just make sure you're on the proper site. It'll say something like kdp.amazon. I'm in the US, so it's not going to be exactly like this, but okay, this is called the bookshelf. And this is, I think of this as like the home page. This is my book. And at one point I had an ebook version of it, but I decided to unpublish that because it's a journal that you write in, and I tried to make a condensed version, and I just decided this is not wise. And then I have the paperback and then the hardcover. And you know, if you were starting, if you didn't have anything yet, it's pretty simple. You go to create, and then what would you like to create? You know, ebook or paperback, Kindle Vella. I think that might be short stories, series page. Okay, let's see. Remember, I've learned a lot, but I don't know everything. So I'm looking at this with you. Collect your books together and build a single Amazon series page. Okay, that's probably after you've written several books. So let's say we're going to create a paperback. Okay, all right. This is starting from scratch. I'm going to show you, I'm going to go back to my bookshelf. And remember, if you have any questions, please raise your hand or put them in the chat. Okay, so I'm going to go to continue setup. This is the paperback version. Then there's basically 3 main tabs at the top: paperback details, paperback content, and paperback rights and pricing. Oops. Okay, so this is pretty self-explanatory, but I do recommend creating a draft in Amazon KDP. And once you create a draft, you can't get rid of a draft, but you can learn a lot by creating a draft. And this is the first tab, language, pretty self-explanatory. Book title, you put that in here. Once it's published, you can't change that. The subtitle, I was surprised, that's optional. You can change the cover if you want, but you've got to still have the title on there. Then if it's part of a series, you would add that. And boy, I think that's a good marketing thing. I saw this guy, he's making a bundle off of his self-published books, and he had different books that I thought were unrelated. He had one on building your habits and one on romance or something like that, but he made them part of a series. So I don't know. But then it shows up, if someone buys this one book, then it shows you the other parts of the series. So if you've got them somewhat related, my next book, I'm planning to make it part of a series, unless it's totally out of left field. Okay, edition, that's if it's a new edition of an existing book. Okay, then if you're doing a compilation book, there's going to be a primary account owner of this KDP. So I'm not quite sure how, if you've worked that out, but you probably have. There's one main person who's publishing it. And then the contributing authors can go here. And Susie, let me know if I'm missing anything, or feel welcome to chime in. Okay. Then this is where you put the description of your book. This is, let me see if I can show you. Yeah, so in that description field, this is the description that customers will see. Okay, can you see all that? I'm back to contributors and description. Thumbs up if you can see. I'm back to, I'm assuming you can see it. All right, let me know if you can't. So this is where you put in the description, and you can format this a little bit. You can put bold or some bullet point lists. And this is changeable. There are some fields that are not changeable after you've published and some that are. This is totally changeable. Publishing rights. I own the copyright and I hold necessary publishing rights. Primary audience. Is it sexually explicit? Reading age? Primary market. This is kind of related to that question that we were talking about at the beginning. Which dialect do you use? Where do you think you're going to sell the most books? This is changeable. Changing your primary marketplace after you publish may impact your list price. Okay, then categories. What category? You can choose 3 main categories. This has changed in the last year. Was that a question?
Michael,
Yes.
yes, can you just slip back to where you've got Amazon.com and
Yes.
click on that so people can see the
Yes.
choices are great.
Yes. Yes.
So
Did you?
is
I'm
there New
assuming you
Zealand with
chose UK, Susie, right?
I did, because that's my primary, but is there a New Zealand there? No.
But Australia, would they would probably choose Australia.
We use Australia, but a lot
Yeah,
of people
right.
would buy from the US one as well.
Okay. Okay. All right. Good. Good. Okay. And categories. I'm not sure if this is the case. When I first published 2 years ago, you used to be able to add more than 3, but maybe that's changed. But you would have to email Amazon to ask them to do that. That's where
Hmm.
your book will show up on, on Amazon. Okay, this is keywords. This is really important. This is the metadata that people are going to be using to find your book. And my understanding is that you really want like keyword phrases, like, I don't know, channeled books on healing or something like that. You want them pretty specific and a phrase, because if you just put channeled book, that might be a little broad. And one way to pick them oh, we have something in the chat. Susie, can you check the chat if there are some
Yeah,
questions?
will do. What have you learned about what is good to include in your description?
Oh, good question. Good question.
Thank you, Deb.
I've rewritten it several times, and I've seen people say I rewrote my description and I immediately started selling more. That's where you really want to emulate other good descriptions or the back cover of other books. It depends if you're writing fiction or nonfiction. Brief and to the point, and it's a lot. If it's nonfiction, it's a lot about the benefits of what they're going to get. In this book, you will learn, blah, 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 simple ways to meet your soulmate, strategies. But, you want to be honest. So it's a great question. I don't know if I have any, immediate answers, but I would say emulate the top sellers. Literally go to their description, look at the top sellers, and then you can kind of reword it. You don't want to copy exactly what they did, but you can kind of reword it. That goes a long way. And that is something that's changeable. So like I said, some
Yeah.
things are not changeable, but that is changeable. Primary market.
Michael, yeah,
Oh, go
you
ahead.
found it. Okay.
What was that, Susie? Oh.
Primary marketplace, does that mean you only need one Amazon account to buy it, as opposed to, say, using UK and needing a UK Amazon account?
Yes, people can buy it all over, and we'll get to that on the last tab. I think they're just asking you, where do you think you're going to sell the most copies,
No, so you can buy from anywhere, but you would choose to buy. You don't want to incur the expenses of printing and then posting. So you choose where you want to buy it. So when people buy my book in America, they buy it from Amazon.com. When they choose to buy it from Europe, they buy it from Europe, EU. So it depends. Does that answer your question, Deb? I can see you. So if you've got more, unmute yourself.
Okay, good.
Can you?
Okay, I'm going to
you want
move
to-
on. Oh, wait.
Oh, right,
I
okay.
think she said she couldn't unmute. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Can someone do it for you? You can hire someone to do all of this. I would be very careful. I would hire freelancers. I mean, I don't know. There's debates about this. This is a big topic, but you still generally speaking, you want to own your own rights. You want to upload it to your own KDP account. And maybe you've hired someone to help format it, or maybe you've hired someone to edit it or whatever. But to hire a company that's going to upload it to KDP for you, I wouldn't recommend that. Yeah.
Mm. Can you hold on a minute, Michael? Kim, can you unmute? Oh, she's unmuted. Thank you. Hello,
Yeah,
Deborah.
thank you. I appreciate your responses just then, Michael. Can I just, sorry, to go back to the primary
Sure, go for
marketplace
it. Go
thing?
for it.
Yeah. Recently I was trying to help a friend out who's published a book on Amazon, and I have a New Zealand Amazon account, and so I signed in and I couldn't find her book. So then I Googled it and realized that her book was sitting in Amazon UK, and that then I figured out I would have to create a UK account in order to be
Oh.
able to leave a review for her. And
Oh.
so that's why I'm asking the question about, do we use .com or do we use something else? Because that really threw me. I thought I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that Amazon wasn't just one place.
Yeah.
Okay.
So did you have to buy it? Could you buy it where you were, but only to leave a review? You had to go to the other sites?
Well, she'd already gifted me a book, so I didn't need to buy it, but I did
Okay.
want to give her a review. So I just assumed I would just log on to Amazon. I hadn't actually ever noticed I was only on Amazon. It's either AU or NZ. I can't remember. They may have Australia and New Zealand together. And then I thought, where's her book? You know, I did all these searches, and then I just used Google and saw that it was sitting in Amazon UK. So that's why I'm asking about that tab that you were showing us about the primary marketplace, because that really threw me.
Mm. Can I suggest, Deborah, that you ask her to go back in and set it to worldwide, and then you'll be able to do it. So she's missing out a whole market, and
Oh.
Michael will get to that shortly. So when you
Great.
see it, you'll be able to help her.
I
Yeah.
Oh,
think
I
that's
see what
where
you're saying.
yeah, I think that's where I was getting to, especially going back to the comment about, well, ISIS saying, you know, this is for everyone. And I kind of feel like anything I'm involved in will be for potentially anyone around the globe. And I don't
Yeah.
want to limit that. So that was,
Yeah.
so if we were to select
Yeah.
.com, then that opens up.
No, this is more about you, for you to order your author copies. So that, and where your primary marketplace or your primary source of income will come from. So because when I get, every month I get money from Amazon, and it will come through different banks, if you like, because of different areas. But if she makes it worldwide, you'll be able to go straight on there and leave a review. But
So
I
it
think
might
you
have been
might be able to-
something in Deborah's friend's settings that she didn't
Yeah.
make it worldwide.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
might that
Well,
could
you'll
be.
get to that shortly, Deborah. So if it doesn't
Okay.
answer the question, we'll come back to you. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, Michael.
that's okay. It's a good question. And leaving reviews has gotten a little more tricky. Sometimes you actually have to buy the book or be a verified user, you know, so, but
Yeah.
it sounds like you couldn't even find it on where you were. You had to open a new account. Okay. So then you save and continue, save and continue. Okay, then you're on the next, wait, hold on a second. I want to just copy something from my clipboard. Okay, we're on to ISBN numbers here. And it's a little ISBN numbers are like the social security number or the number that follows your book around. And it's a little different in different countries, but I asked some people what it's like in New Zealand, and this is the response I got. The National Library gives free ISBN number. So why don't you cut and paste that? Because it's a little different. If you live in Canada, ISBN numbers are free. If I'm in the United States and they cost a fortune, and it's different in different countries, but that's where we are on this tab. So, oops. Okay, so this is my gratitude journal. And like I said, I just wanted to learn how to do it. So I chose the free Amazon KDP ISBN number for this book. It was free. I just wanted to do it. I only recommend that if you really don't care about your book. Like, I'm just gonna put up a journal on goal setting, and I just want to learn how to do it, but if you're in New Zealand, you can obviously get a free one, and it's easier if you get your own ISBN number rather than getting the one that Amazon gives you. And if you got your own, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just say, if you use theirs, you can't get your book published by something like Ingram Spark or anywhere else. And that is the only difference with the assigning the KDP ISBN.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, yeah, it's much better.
Okay,
and if you,
Claire.
What's to stop you from America getting an ISBN number through our national library?
it's country specific. It has to be.
Yeah.
That's odd. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I thought of that. I was like, could I just have my friend in Canada get me one? And then I thought maybe I could split them with someone, and it's assigned to you. But one benefit of getting your own ISBN number is then you can have an imprint. Like, you can, it's instead of, like, I think you can see this. You can see this. This is my book. It just says independently published. That's because I used the free one. But if you have your own ISBN number, then you can make up a name. And I did that for my hardcover. If I can find my hardcover, here we go. Then I called it Luminous Living Media. So it makes it a little more legitimate, I guess. It's like, wow, this is a publishing company, Anyway, and this is where I can't click it, but if you have your own, then it would say enter your own ISBN number, and then it would also say enter your imprint name right there. Okay, then you're getting into print options, and let's see, how are we doing on time here? Okay.
Kim, are you going to include coloured work in your artwork in your book? Our book? You're muted. Yeah.
Can we include colour?
You can. My friend published.
Should I stop sharing the screen? Are you going to show something?
No, there's no need. So she published Silly Sydney in colour, a children's book, and one of my pocket books. She published her pictures in colour. It's hardly any different. It is more expensive, but not so much that it's prohibitive.
More expensive for people to buy, you mean?
Well,
they
no,
charge you
your profit
more?
ratio. Well, how expensive your book is what you choose to make it, which Michael will get to. But the printing costs have increased like everything has.
Right.
But you can
It makes everything more
want.
expensive. If you want to buy author copies to sell at a farmer's market or something, that's more expensive. And then, yes.
Yeah.
So black and
Yeah,
white
but
doesn't increase the price.
No,
Correct.
but it's not. It's quite marginal, really. It
Okay.
depends it depends on a lot of things as a choice. So,
Okay.
Yes. And then you even have two options. There's standard color and then premium color. And what I've heard is a premium color is very expensive. You can test all these out and see the price differences. Like here, my printing cost for my little black and white journal is $2.94. If I made it in color, it would probably be like $7 or something like that. This is American money, but what I've heard is, let's say you want a splash of color, like you just want a little rose in the corner or something like that, then you could do standard color, and that increases the price a little bit, but not so bad. But if you really want like color photographs, color images, then you would use premium color, and that's when the price really goes up a lot. But then you charge more for it. So it's there is a way to do it, but it's mostly like for coffee table books or children's books usually. Yeah. And that you cannot change. You've got to just choose one and choose it wisely. And then this is where you choose the size of the book. And I chose mine very carefully. I literally got out a ruler and took books up from my shelf. You have a bunch of options. It's called trim size. And then there are standard ones. You probably want to pick a standard one because that makes it easier to fit on a shelf at a bookstore. Bleed or no bleed. This is let's say you had a kid's book and there was an alligator that was crawling to the edge of the page and you wanted it all the way at the edge, then you would click bleed. If it's all going to be in the margins, then you click no bleed. Then this is the cover, either matte or glossy. I don't know. It's a debate. I like things that are shiny and glossy, so I chose glossy, but it depends. I think whenever I take a picture of my book now, there is a little bit of glare. So there are definitely times where you want to pick matte. Okay, and these are the files. This is where you upload the interior file that Susie was showing you how to get ready with Kindle Create or Vellum or any of those other programs. That's you just click that and then you find your file on your computer and then you upload it. And then it's a separate file. The cover is a different story. I don't think we have time, but that's a whole separate file to get the cover and the dimensions just right. Amazon does have this thing called Cover Creator where it's very user-friendly. You could make your own cover, but it's not going to be fancy. And the cover is really important. So I definitely
Michael, this is one of their two people that I know have used the same Cover Creator. Hopefully we'll have a few minutes and I will show you how to create a cover. And I think, Deborah, you're familiar with this process, are you? Because you're designing, but I can actually guide you when you get to this bit if you need any help. Okay. But you can choose how to make this as a Canva cover. Yeah, so I just designed it on Canva. Okay. So, or you can use theirs, but they're pretty boring in my opinion.
So, Deborah has questions about covers, and I'm just aware of the time. We've gone an hour and a half. Kim, do we want to make it a hard stop, or do we want to go a half hour more or 15 minutes more?
Well, we had said to people that it was 2 hours, so you've got under the half an hour.
Okay, good. Okay, what's your most burning question, Deborah?
You'll have to unmute her, Kim. In fact, you can unmute everybody really for now if you like.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to be using Canva to create the images and things like that. And then I'll put all of that into the KDP cover whiz.
Creator.
Right.
Creates the whiz.
I just posted a link called the cover calculator.
Okay. 'Cause
Michael, I think you've forgotten that I'm actually going to teach this. We've got time, so I can show you how to do it.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So
okay, that's
when
fine.
I had a quick look at it, I guess some of the things that jumped out at me were needing to know how thick the book was going to be. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking you actually have to get the manuscript loaded
Yes.
so that you
Yes.
know that, so you know how much to allow for the spine and all that sort of thing.
Exactly. Okay. Why don't we get back to that? Let me just wrap up with the uploading, and then you're gonna do that, Susie. Okay.
Yeah, I'll do that bit so that you can see it. We won't
Okay.
take long on it though. Yeah.
Okay, that's a great question. Okay, let me just finish going through. So you'll have your cover file, which is a PDF. Then this is pretty new in the last few months. They're asking you if you've used AI at all to create your book, even write it. And that's new in the last few months. Okay, then launch previewer. This, I think I can show you this. This really shows you how it's going to look and if there are any errors in it. If there are any errors, it'll show them on the left side, and you can just do a final check. You know, I had.
And this is
Go
where
ahead.
you need a lot of time to do this. Really
Yes.
commit your time to doing this.
Yes, yes.
You know, I keep showing it, Michael, because it's really quite complex.
It is. And I had trouble just getting the margins right. More often than not, it was like, this is not fitting. And so I finally just shrank it and shrank it and shrank it. And then I finally didn't get any error messages. Okay, I just want to go through all these screens though. And if there are any errors, it won't let you go to the next tab. You can launch previewer. That's how it's going to look. And then if there are errors, it won't let you go. But if there are no errors, then it will. And this is kind of the summary of everything you've chosen. And you can even see the suggested. Oh, this is the different costs. Okay, then save and continue. And this is the final tab. This is what we were talking about before, that maybe your friend did not choose. All territories worldwide. I was talking to, I think it was Deborah.
Deborah.
Yes.
This is again where pricing is based on the primary marketplace. You select it in the details tab. Okay, this is where you actually can set your price, and this is very changeable. Tells you your royalty rate. And it gives you suggested prices for the other countries, but I found out it wasn't like at one point I had a pretty good price in the United States, and then people in Australia were saying, "Oh my God, this is really expensive." So I adjusted that. And then this is all still in draft. We're looking at my live book, but this could still be in draft mode, and you can get here while it's still in a draft. And this is where you would request proof copies. Like, let's say you think it's ready, then you order a proof copy. It's not published yet. They will send you an actual physical copy of the book that says "not for sale" on it, and then you can see how it looks. And I absolutely recommend doing that, and you might even get a few of them. And then you have to buy the proof copy, and it's at the cheapest price you can.
Yeah.
And
Michael,
then when
can you go?
Yeah.
Can you go back to the top? No, stay there. A bit further down. A bit more. Okay. Explain the royalty, will you? Because people need to know.
Okay,
printing
okay.
costs. Yeah.
Let's see. So my book is what they call a low content book, meaning it's like a journal. So mine was actually not eligible for this expanded distribution. But I get, you know, if I change the price, I'm not going to change it, but then it'll show you exactly what the royalty is. Like, you know, the minimum price for my book based on printing costs is $4.90. If I put in $4.90, my royalty would be, you know, something like 40 cents or something like that. If I put in max $2.50, then it's a huge royalty. And this is much higher. Whatever I'm getting is much higher than traditional publishing. But then expanded distribution is probably what I get. I think that's, I forget, do you know, Susie? Is that what I get if it's sold in
Yeah.
the UK?
No, that doesn't mean that. That means that if you sell it through another partner,
Oh,
then you will only get 40% because KDP or Amazon will take the extra 20%. So it's important when you're pricing your book, again, to check out the prices of other books similar to yours, and also the profit you're hoping to make.
what's an example of another partner? Do you mean like Barnes and Noble or?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I didn't ever tick that because I didn't ever plan to do anything with it beyond what I'm doing. So
see, okay, I need to back up briefly.
Can I just add something in there?
Wait, I just want to get this
please.
one thought out. This is important. And then hold that thought. Is, you know, Amazon dominates the internet. But if you want to be sold in bookstores, like small bookstores, that's another ball game. And you usually want to also publish through a totally different company called Ingram Spark. And we're not going to have time, but most people have this. It's a team. It's like publishing on KDP and publishing on Ingram. So you definitely want to be in both places, because a mom and pop bookstore, let's say there's a mom and pop bookstore in Australia, they don't want to order it from Amazon. Amazon is kind of the competition. They're going to want to order it from Ingram Spark. So it's too big to cover in this, but you want to publish on Ingram Spark as well. And I'm just going to give you a heads up. It's doable. I did it, but it's not as user-friendly as KDP. But you want to be in both places, and you want to kind of upload your book at the same, kind of with your ISBN number at the same time. You don't necessarily have to publish at the same time, but you want to get the draft going. The draft going in KDP and the draft going on Ingram Spark. As long as you get the draft going, then it kind of assigns something to your ISBN number. That's a short version of it. Okay, Susie, what was the question?
Oh, I just wanted to mention when you put in your pricing on there. So like you've put Amazon.com as $13.45, and then it populates all the other ones to a similar price. So what I've heard has been recommended is that price. So let's say it put yours on Amazon.de at $12.43. Then it's useful to go down and make the numbers all end in ideally a 45 or a 95 or a 99.
Yeah, I did that. I'm just following my
Does it work?
intuition. I don't really know the best practice, but I figured it would look better if I rounded up. I agree. Yeah.
Can you scroll down to the Australia one then and see what sort of prices? So equivalent, your book is currently.
So I know nothing
1864.
about, like, what if someone was buying a really lovely gratitude journal in Australia, would that be like a good price, or would that be expensive, or I don't know. I just, I'm pulling this out of the air. I'm sure I've made plenty of mistakes. Okay. All right, and then it's really fun when you finally hit publish, and then it has to go through a review process. It doesn't happen instantly. Okay. Susie, do you want to give a crash course on creating an amazing, beautiful cover that's going to sell like wildfire?
No, I'm just going to show. I'm just hoping that I can find it here.
Okay, how to create a crappy cover that's going to stab yourself in the foot.
No, I don't think. Beg your
But
pardon.
do copy this
I'm
link
having-
that I have, the cover calculator link.
Thank you. I'm having a bit of a problem with my computer at the moment. Okay. So once you're into KDP, you can always look along the top at all of those and play with it. Give yourself some time. There's something called the KDP University, and I spent hours and hours on it. So you really are getting like the rough version of all of the potential of this particular company. So the binding type is paperback, we'll say. Are you doing it in paperback, Kim? Oh, you might be muted. I can't see you. So, okay, the interior type.
You're not sharing the
is-
screen. Did you know that?
No, am I not? Oh,
You're
dear.
not.
Oh dear. I've in fact, I've just. Are you still there?
We're here, but I
It's-
don't think you ever started sharing it.
Okay, well, I was. I was happily talking.
You were
to
sharing it with the
screen.
universe and yourself, but not us.
Okay, well, we're going to. I'm not sure how much of that you can see, but once you go onto KDP, seeing as I'm not able to share this, I apologize. You can go to our YouTube program where I'm able to share it, and you download a cover template, it's called. If you can see this from there without the glare, let me just get rid of the glare.
I'm gonna show it. I have something that'll show it. I have our,
Can you
I
show
have
that for me?
our document.
Oh, right. Okay. That was before you get, there we are. So download cover template. Just go up a bit for me, please. Thank you. Download the cover template there and the cover calculator. Can you press on cover calculator, Michael? Oh, you
I just
can't,
sent them
can
the
you?
link in the chat to the cover. No, this
Right.
is just I'm just looking at our PDF, Susie.
Oh, right. Okay.
This is not a live.
Right. Scroll up, because what you'll do, up, no, the other way, sorry. Down. There we are. When you've put in your basic detail, which I was talking to a screenshot a moment ago, you put in the size that you want, you put in the amount of pages that are in the book, and then it will give you this. So this is the template for my books, which are fairly straightforward, nice size books. They're 100 pages maximum. And if I show you 100 pages maximum, that is that thick. That's a phone. So it's not very many pages. And that does mean that there's no room for a spine. But on a book that is 300 or 400 pages, then you've got room for a spine. And the line between the two lines in the middle is the spine. And when you create that on Canva, Deborah, you'll need to create the spine and the back and the front. And then you can then import these.
I have one
on
quick
top.
tip about the spine that people forget is you don't really want like a blue cover and then a red spine or something like that, because the place where the cover ends and the spine begins can vary a
Yeah.
little bit, and you might end up with a little strip.
Weird
So-
line. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. And then you literally can take your photograph from Canva.
Should I stop
or
sharing the screen, Susie?
No,
Should I-
no, leave it up for me, will you? Scroll down a bit more so they can see the image that you've created, Deborah. Okay, so you put that image on there and you create the bleed. So you take it slightly out so that you don't end up with a white line. And certainly Silly Sydney ended up, because they didn't do the work, ended up with a small white line along here. So it's important that you overstretch it, but everything that's inside that dotted line will be printed.
Is
I
it-
would
Yeah,
say
does that make sense?
I'm no designer, but I would say ideally with something like this, you would want like clouds and that extended all the way to the back cover, you know.
Yes, that was my next question. So what I would ideally like to do is stretch the cloud part right across the entire book, the spine and everything.
Yeah,
You
I would
can't,
recommend
you,
that.
well, you can, but there's a problem, and that is you can't cover that barcode up.
So you can't make the barcode sit in front of the image.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Hold on a minute. Let me see.
The
I think
barcode
that
in the
they
final
tell you-
thing. Go ahead.
This is what all of ours do, and that is it says you can't cover it over. So they put the barcode in for you, so it will come out like this. Try it, Deborah, because I did it on the
either
white.
way, you can put the barcode in yourself too. I mean, ultimately you need a barcode, but
Yeah.
in your thing, there may be an image in the background, and the barcode can end up being like a little JPEG image that you put there.
Yep.
But they're all on all of the ones that have been printed off, it's white.
Yep.
So, okay, but you can cover it, but then you'll just have to see.
Yeah.
And then the back of the book, again, Michael's absolutely right. Keep your colour travelling. So keep your clouds travelling all the way around your spine and onto your back.
Yep.
And then in your Canva, you'll do your script on the back of your book. How you design it is how you design it. And I think there are not really any rules. If anybody's here that doesn't know how to use Canva or to use Procreate or one of those other programs, Photoshop or something, then I'm more than happy to come back and literally go through with you doing it on your machine so that you can actually learn it yourself, because I think it's such a complex thing until you grasp it. So creating your cover is really, really important. It has to say something about you. And it has to be really attractive to other people. I made a mistake because ISIS is not just a goddess, is she? And people thought this was the terrorist group ISIS. So, you know, we all make our mistakes. So you have to really think about what it is that you want to create and make it yours. But these templates are fantastic. Just get the stuff in, throw it on, and then it will tell you if it's wrong. So don't be afraid. Anything that you input, it goes through a process. When you're happy, then they decide before you publish it whether it's good enough. And they'll come back and say, this is not acceptable. So you can't really go wrong. They will push it through an AI to find its flaws. Does that make sense?
That's helpful, isn't it?
Yeah. You can stop sharing, Michael. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
And so I think we've got 10 minutes for final questions, final remarks, or
Yeah.
anything, really. Can you unmute people?
How are
Kim?
you all feeling? Is it feeling? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I printed with a company in New Zealand called Copy Press, and they kind of do two different branches. So you can pay them. So this is kind of Deborah's question earlier. You can pay them to do as little or as much as you want. So for my children's picture book, I got them to do all of the formatting and stuff for me. and they are happy for you to just send a fully formatted thing for them to them. And then you can buy a whole bunch of books and sell them, and you get obviously more profit. But then they also go through their channels as well. So they'll do, so they sell through, and then you get a royalty from them. And you
But
just
you
pay.
don't run the KDP accounts, is that right? They run it.
Yeah, so they will, if you want them to, they will do that for you, or you can do your own. They'll send it to you, and you can do your own channel. So they put my children's picture book on Fishpond, and then that then uploads also to Amazon. So if you don't want to be doing that all yourself, there is that option as well.
Right. Okay.
If you're in New Zealand.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And that's really useful for yourselves, which is great. Are they expensive, Rosalind?
No, I don't think so. For my children's picture book, I'll just quickly grab one so you can see. So that for a physical copy, it's $9. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much.
So-
I've got a question. There's
Yeah.
a few people that out in the world who advertise themselves as knowing what the loophole is with Amazon, and will teach you how to generate an income publishing books that you don't need to write. Are you aware of those adverts? There's a lady in New Zealand, her advertising for that is quite prolific. Like when you listen to YouTube or something like that, and then suddenly her ad will pop up. So I'm sitting here wondering, how do you shut that loophole? So if you're creating something in Amazon, making sure that, other people can't sort of jump on the back of it and somehow or other decide to collect some royalties from all your hard work.
You're asking if they're going to steal your book that you've uploaded up there?
Yeah, well, I don't, it's all a bit weird how it's worded, but this lady, she says she makes a lot of money by not doing much on Amazon. She doesn't need to write anything or, but she
could be using AI. I mean, AI can write a book now. I don't know. That's a big question. I mean, people resell stuff.
Righty.
Sometimes people have bought my book and then they're reselling it. So there are people that do that. And then
I think keep your heart open to the light and don't be worrying about those that play in the dark. I think you can't, because otherwise you drown. And I wouldn't worry about them. I don't know of anything that's ever happened to my book, any of the books. They sell a lot of the things like my pocketbook EFT that my friend wrote. He buys author copies and you get them at print costs plus postage. So he then can sell the whole book to a group of people, or you can send 50 of these to a shop and they'll sell them and you choose. They have to sell for the same price as they are on Amazon, but you can choose the profit ratio that you want. Does that make sense?
You can also choose where you want them shipped from. If I wanted to order author copies, I could have them printed from Australia and then shipped to somewhere in Australia.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Does that make sense? I wouldn't worry about her. I think I know. Was she blonde haired? Straight blonde hair.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, it was just something that was like just right in the back of my mind, and I thought, I wonder what that is. I wonder what that loophole is. Yeah, I don't feel really concerned about it, but I guess I was just interested to know if you knew what that
Anyone
was.
that's advertising how to make money from doing something is probably making more money from selling the program than actually doing it. That's my theory.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I thought that that lady was telling more about how to change the algorithm to get your book further up the list and more in front of people. I
Yeah,
thought that
that's
her focus was on changing how far, what Amazon thought of you.
that could be.
I
I
could be
think
wrong.
reviews have a lot to do with that. I've heard if you've had
Yeah.
you have over 100 reviews or more than that, then it's more likely to be seen.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of factors with that. Yeah.
And it's really hard to get people to give you a review. And
Ask
I don't
for
understand
reviews
why.
though. At the very end of the book, ask readers to give
Yeah.
a review. You can even leave. You have to tell readers. You have to teach people how to leave a review. People do not know how to leave a review.
No.
You got to just say,
no.
if you enjoyed this book, let others people know let people know what you thought about it. Go into your orders and blah blah blah. Anyway, I think we are out of time, but
Yeah.
but
There's so
thank you
much more as
so
well.
much. And a quick non-salesy plug if you want a book that cultivates natural gratitude, that takes you through a 60-day journey where it'll just upgrade your inner life, where you're not working on gratitude, but it's just coming naturally. See if it calls to you, the Joyful Heart Gratitude Journal. And Susie, you want to mention your book? She's written a beautiful channeled book. No pressure. We're
Yeah.
just putting out who we are.
I'd go to my email address and pull up my newsletter, which is the Ankh on the left-hand side. Or I just write a monthly newsletter for Warriors of Light. It's free. And in there's a whole list of books and whole list of opportunities in there for anybody that needs them. So it's been a joy and pleasure to be with you all. I hope that you found it valuable.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Do shout out if you need it.
Thank you very much. So Susie, we can get hold of your newsletter via susiejones.com.
That's right. Yes. If you, it's called a blog on Wix, but if you press the Ankh is that symbol, which is in the top left-hand side of my website. The website, I'm not doing anything with it at the moment because there's a whole load of stuff going on in my life. But I do write the monthly newsletter and it is absolutely free. Loads of information in there. And Kim's in there, and we have YouTube channels and all sorts going off. So, and if you fancy learning and want to write a book with my pocketbook series, I don't charge anything. All the profit yours. It's nothing to do with me, how you manage it. But we are going to have a bit of a summit this year, hopefully. So just to promote ourselves and the work that we do. So join the tribe if you want to do that. Let me know.
Thank you,
Okay.
Susie. Thank you,
Thank
Michael,
you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
for sharing your knowledge and your trials and tribulations through
Absolutely.
ADP.
Yes. Don't make the mistakes we made. Do it.
No.
Like different ones.
All right. Thank you,
Yeah, very
everyone.
different ones, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
Thank you,
for those
Kim.
of you who
Take
want to
care.
see this again, I'll put it onto the Facebook group.
Okay.
And if Susie and Michael, you send me your website details and all of that, I'll include that as well.
Yeah,
And for
and
those
I'll
of you-
send you the I'll send you the link to our KDP and Kindle Create videos that we made a couple of years ago.
Yes.
So in case you want to check back.
Yes.
more
So send me those and
technology.
I'll include all those when I load up the video. Thank you. And just one
Bless
last
you.
thing for those who are in the Facebook group. Our next monthly webinar is on the 12th of March, 7 o'clock in the New Zealand evening. Diane Clark Manley, and her proposed topic is quite interesting. Science meets spirituality and the use of sound and vibration. So Arnie is going to be organising that one. So we'll put up the details a bit nearer the time. Huge thank you to Susie and Michael for spending your time with us and sharing all the trials and tribulations and the how-tos and sharing your whole journey. It's been really, really valuable. Thank you so much, and thank you for everyone
Thank
who's
you.
been here
Wonderful.
today.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Take
Bye.
care. Lovely to see you. Bye.
Bye.